my god, hi. You look so good today. Do you know what I mean? Hi. I don't know if that's going to be my intro. That's a lot. So real talks, just between you and me, I actually already filmed this. And originally this was supposed to be kind of like a do your makeup while bitching about things. But then the camera just decided that it was gonna like delete everything. And so yes, I already did film this video and I'm not entirely sure what exactly happened, but here we are. I'm just gonna talk about this stuff now whilst not getting ready. So the first thing we're leaving behind in 2020 is actually just like intellectual property palettes that don't utilize the full scope of what they are. So for example, I have here the Sailor Moon ColourPop palette. That's gonna be kind of hard to see considering this lighting is like very intense. This is editing me and I'm like a real YouTuber. Throughout this video, I'm gonna be saying a lot like, this lighting is intense, and watching it back now, like it's not, so that's like something to note. But in the video itself, it does look really bright. Like when I was watching it from the viewfinder to see if I could see it, I couldn't. So that's why. So just like bear with me, you know? But look, the packaging is cute, obviously. And then the colors are just like, I might need to actually like sit here and yeah. The packaging is cute. The colors are okay. They're very like pinky and like cutesy, which I really like. However, I do feel that it's not really using the full scope of those colors. I wish that they would just sit down and look at like pictures of whatever it is that they're looking for and then isolate like, I don't know, color swatches or something, and then they could just use that as an inspiration for the colors they chose for the palette. Another one that I can think of, I actually don't have it here, so I can't really hold it up. It was actually the Kylie, I'll just like move over here and take a picture of it. Like, here you go. The Kylie Grinch Collection, which is like not the first Grinch collection that came out either. But this one I was like, it's cute, but at the same time, it's kind of just a very basic neutral palette with a green in the middle. Girl, there's at least like 3. My point still stands though. And it wasn't even like Grinch green, so I feel as though for me personally, I was not feeling it, like at all. If you're doing something where it's like a campfire or like, I don't know, you want to make it themed like cats or something, just take pictures of the things that you want to base a makeup palette around and then find color swatches from those pictures and make that into a palette. I don't know. Next thing that I feel we're leaving behind in 2020 is actually kind of similar, and it's boring eyeshadow palettes, but they have really exciting packaging, where a palette will have such incredible packaging that you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to open this. I can't wait to look at all these intense colors, and then you open it and it's really boring. For example, recently MAC put out this like really, really pretty, I think it was like a Lunar New Year situation palette. I'm just gonna move this more center, yeah. And it looked really, really cute. It was really interesting. However, when you open the packaging, inside the palette was just kind of, again, a neutral palette, and then they had like a blue and I think it was like a red. But if you looked at that packaging, it was like vibrant, gorgeous colors, and then there was like amazing, like interesting, intricate kind of, I think it was like fish or something that looked so pretty. And when you have something that interesting, when you open the packaging and you just see that boring palette underneath, it's just not a fun experience. The next thing we're leaving behind in 2020 is performative inclusivity. Within the past couple of years, brands have realized that they can't just put out like lackluster shade range, right? Like if it's a foundation or concealer, they have to be really inclusive. So they need to be doing things like, you know, the full range from like paper white to really dark. I think that now because of that, because of the, a lot of the backlash that brands were getting like within the past couple years when they release a shade range that isn't great, they are now kind of doing that just because they don't want to get into that kind of a skirmish, because I do think that like social media can either make or break your brand, and how influencers and how people on the internet like respond to those shade ranges and those product releases can seriously hurt a brand. And I think that the way to really tell when a brand is being super performative but not actually living by those rules and doing the things that they should be doing is if you look at things outside of immediate complexion products, so like foundations and concealers, maybe the brand has a lot of foundations and concealers that'll work for people of all skin tones, which is great, but then you'll look at things like eyeshadow palettes, highlighters, blushes, and those things don't match that. Some brands will have just like very light peachy, like blushes, but then they have like a full range of foundations where their blushes are not going to work for the people of really dark skin tone. I think that it's very telling that I, as a paper thin, ugh, she's skinny. Me, as a paper white person, can go into a Sephora and find literally anything from any brand. Like, if I'm looking for an eyeshadow palette, I will find one from any brand regardless. If I'm looking for a foundation, I can pretty much go to any brand and I will find that. But if you're really, really dark, if you are someone who has a very dark complexion and you go to a Sephora, you would not be able to find the same amount of, like, products that would work for you. Girl, you really thought you did something there. Like, we all know this already, okay? Because so many brands don't really care about eyeshadow palettes working for everyone. They don't care about blushes working for people, and it's very telling. I'm going to be using that as a barometer going forward, so that, for me, I'm not going to be buying from brands that don't take that inclusivity in mind. Mind you, I have no problem with eyeshadow palettes being like all pastels, as long as there's another option for someone who is of a darker skin tone. For example, the Midas Cosmetics actually did this pastel release. It was like a palette of pastels, and it was great because they said, here we have this other one that's basically the same thing, except for it's darker pastels, because lighter pastels may not work for you, which I thought was really great. Again, going back to the Sailor Moon palette, I actually think it's fine. I love Sailor Moon, and I'm actually really happy with this palette. However, I am not convinced in any way, shape, or form that these colors would work for someone who is of a very, very dark skin tone. You might get some use out of it, but I think you'd have to use one of those like white eyeshadow bases in order to really make that work for you. And I think what would have just fixed that for me personally would have been if they would have released a separate palette that was still Sailor Moon themed, but worked for people of a darker skin tone. Introduced some dark blues, maybe that vibrant, intense red, some browns, and then you could have still had something Sailor Moon themed that worked for everyone. Because if you love Sailor Moon, but you have a really dark complexion, maybe that product's not going to work for you, and why would you buy it if it didn't? The next thing we're leaving behind in 2020 is not really a makeup product, it's more just a way of life thing that bothers me, and that's that we have got to stop shaming people who like reality TV. Now, I love a good reality TV. Anyone who knows me in my life will tell you that I love reality competition shows. I'm not wild about the shows where it's like watching someone just live their life, or like Real Housewives. That just doesn't really do it for me. But I love like RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with like baking competition shows and shows where people have to make clothing and they get judged by a panel of judges. I am obsessed with that. And recently I've been watching Are You the One, the 8th season, which is like low-key problematic, but still like wild and so fun. So basically, any of those shows I will watch, and I'm just getting sick and tired of this mentality that if you watch reality TV, you're like of a lower class of person, or you lack class, or that you're trashy. Like, yes, we know reality TV is trashy. Yes, we know that reality TV is like fake and scripted most of the time. But like, we can enjoy things that are not like expertly handcrafted artisanally with like a quill pen, right? Like, we don't have to watch things that someone sat at candlelight with in 1864 and wrote on this scroll, and then they adapted it into TV like 2 years ago. We don't need to do that. We can just watch things that make us happy. And that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate like Westworld, or like lately I've been watching a lot of Bridgerton because it's like wild. But like, we can like things that aren't expertly crafted, right? Like, we can just watch people talking in a confessional and being like, I hate Jessica, she's a bitch. And we cannot judge people for that, right? Because reality TV is clearly popular because a lot of people watch it and a lot of people enjoy it. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think we're fine. I think it's fine. I think it's good. You know? Who says I'm not allowed to have fun? I'm putting on lip gloss. Ah. Yes. The next thing we're leaving behind in 2020 is Too Faced holiday collections, at least the way that they are right now. I love a good holiday collection, and you love a good holiday collection. We love that. But what we don't love, or at least what I don't love, is when Too Faced is like, look, we have a whole house. It's like a gingerbread house, and it's got like 50 eyeshadows. And we're like, are they good quality? And they're like, no. But people still buy it anyway. And I'm like, why? What are you buying this for? We know, and we have known for years, that Too Faced does not put quality into their holiday collections. Because why would they need to when they know that people are going to buy it anyway? Listen, I'm not going to judge you if you see them releasing those, like, Sugar Plum Fairy palettes, and you just have to have it. I mean, I think we all kind of know that they're not super creative anymore. They're kind of like, insert any neutral shades and then insert like a color that works with that. It's usually like a pink, maybe like a shimmery pink or whatever. I would recommend, if you really want them, just wait, because they always go on sale after, because people never buy them anymore because they're terrible quality. It's like a cycle. It's a never-ending cycle, and it's just terrible. I think that we should be aiming for quality over quantity for sure, especially in the holidays, and especially with their holiday releases. And if 2020 has taught me anything, it's that we don't need 1,000 different things around the holidays. Like, just buy a palette that you really want, that maybe you didn't pick up during the year over the like Too Faced holiday releases, you know? I think that that would be better for you and better for me. The next thing we're leaving behind in 2020, I think, is going to piss off a couple people, and I am fine with that. That is like astrology-themed makeup. Listen, I get it. I love astrology sometimes myself. I have a lot of friends who are into it. I am a triple Aries, which means that something is Aries, and then 2 other things are Aries too. Not like a major part of my personality is centered around the fact that I'm an Aries, in theory at least. Like, I don't go around wearing a t-shirt that says, hey girl, I'm an Aries, fight me bitch. But I do think it's fun and amusing to like read your horoscope. I love reading a horoscope. I love checking CoStar every now and then. Not because like I live or die by that, but it's just kind of like a fun thing to do. And I get that people really enjoy astrological signs. They really enjoy reading their horoscopes or whatever. But between you and me, do you need an entire makeup collection that is your sign? Like, I am fine with, like, every now and then makeup being themed that way. I think BH Cosmetics did, like, a Zodiac palette that some people really rave about, and I'm fine with that. And I think, actually, Bite Beauty did a lipstick launch that I thought was actually pretty smart, which was every, like, I guess month, or, like, whenever that star signs time of year it was, they would release a lipstick based on that theme. So, or, like, based on that astrological sign. So, like, during, like, around my birthday, I could have picked up, like, the Aries lipstick from Bite Beauty. I think that that's super cute, and I really like that concept, because at least with, like, a lipstick, you're kind of getting something out of it. But then recently, Beauty Blender released their sort of normal, old school, like, pink beauty blenders, but they had, like, the astrological sign, like, carved into them, and that for me was it. I was like, no. Like, no. Like, literally no. Listen, if you really need makeup that is astrologically themed, and you want a beauty blender that's astrologically themed, pick up any beauty blender, or better yet, any kind of makeup sponge. Take a knife and carve your astrological sign into it, and you'll basically have the exact same experience. Like, you're not gaining anything from that. I get that it's a fun theme, but I keep seeing it over and over and over again, and I just want some innovation. I want some creativity. Hey girl, are you in an Uber right now? Here's something I do have time for, and here is something that I hope we carry into 2021, and that is TikTok. Like, listen, I am obsessed with TikTok, and I will watch so many TikToks, and I have no problem with TikTok at all. There are some toxic sides of TikTok, I will not deny that, but you know what's so fun? I have friends on TikTok, and we just send each other, like, the funniest things, and it brings me so much joy. It is a whole of entertainment, and I have fallen deep into that ham socket. Another thing that I kind of hope we just leave in 2020 is actually just, like, problematic people. That's so vague. What I mean by that, I just feel like 2020 gave us so much drama. I know we were all stuck inside for most of it. Like, I haven't left my house to go anywhere meaningful in, like, months. But I feel that the amount of drama and the amount of ridiculous shit that happened this year really showed me, like, who I should and shouldn't support. And if you're someone who, if you watch influencers who just go to parties, they aren't wearing their masks, no regard for anyone's personal safety, you don't need to support them. Like, we don't have to support them. Again, I'm not going to judge you. You do what you want to do. But I hope we're leaving that kind of behavior in 2020. I watch so many incredible people on YouTube that are smaller or micro influencers. Smoky Glow, Nisa Nisi Pisa, Abby Williamson, Lacey of Spooky Hips and Fat Lips. That's not right. Spooky Lips and Fat Hips. And all 6 of you watching this, I really hope you go check out some micro influencers because they tend to be less problematic. They tend to be more down to earth. I'm not trying to generalize here and say that if you are a larger influencer, you're automatically problematic. But I do feel like there is sort of a disconnect when you are just sort of a normal person living your life versus like someone who has millions of dollars who lives in one of their 16 mansions, you know? And I just think that there's like a relatability that you lose. And, like, listen, get your money. Like, I'm happy for those people. But at the same time, I really want to, celebrate and support the people that are micro-influencers that are just doing their thing and having fun with makeup, that aren't constantly tweeting inappropriate, rude, racist things. People that aren't being so cruel to their own subscribers or getting constantly in drama, you know. 2020 has been really telling. I think there was a lot of drama this year that just started, I think, half because people were really bored. And that was kind of amusing, but at the same time, like, it was very telling about who was a good person and who wasn't, you know? Hey girl, welcome to Cracker Barrel. Can I help you? Can I take your order? The next thing that I hope we leave in 2020, this one, I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me, and that is fine. It is blushed neutral palettes, and I can give you kind of an example. Cut to me just like rooting around. So there's one palette here. I'm going to have to turn this down. Oh. When you see the face of God. Okay, this one's actually called the Blush Nude. This is like a Maybelline palette. There's nothing wrong with this palette, but this is just giving you an example of kind of what I'm talking about. I might have to go even lower. Do you see what I mean? They're very neutral, but they have like that pinky cutesy kind of shift. So that's what I'm really talking about when I say blushed nudes. They're very specific colors in my mind. They are neutrals with kind of a shift to pink, but they're like not quite millennial pink. They're definitely more muted than like a millennial pink, but I see them all the time. There's so many brands that have come out with like millennial pink, but they're like blush nudes or just blush nudes palettes. And I like, listen, I get it. They're cute. They work well for people if you're really pale and you have like blue eyes. They do look so good. My problem with them is that I've seen it before. I have seen all of these products before. And after a while, it just kind of starts getting kind of boring, you know? And every time I see a release on Trend Mood or really anywhere, I'm like, is it gonna be blush nudes? With like blush nudes or even warm nudes, I feel like it's the same thing. So it's like neutral colors, but there's a slight pink shift. There might be 1 or 2 colors that are like pink, maybe reddy pink. There might be a straight up red in there. It's fine, it looks cute, but at the same time, it's not a new concept. I will show you, in my opinion, what's a really great way to do kind of that kind of vibe, but not fall into just being blush nudes. This is a Smoky Glow palette, and this is one of my favorite palettes from 2020, and in my opinion, this is how you do kind of that sort of vibe, but you don't do it in such a way that it's, like, boring. There are some gorgeous shades in here. There's, like, reds, there's sort of this rosy color that I think is so cute, there's a couple browns, but none of it feels desaturated, which I think is sort of my issue with a lot of these blush nude palettes, is that they're really like just desaturated pink. And like, that's fine for one shade in a palette, but I don't want an entire palette of that because half the time I feel like it can look kind of muddy. The next thing that I want to leave in 2020 is scented makeup. This one's like, I think it's more of a me problem than like an anyone else problem, but it really does bother me. I'll give you an example again because I just have a lot of things offhand that like inspire this. This is the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry Eyeshadow Palette. And it's cute. It looks good. When you open it, the colors are kind of cute. And it smells very strong. It smells like I walked into a candy store and stuck my whole ass face into like one of those bins of candy. Like I walked into a bulk barn and started shoving that around my eye. I can't use a lot of products that have really intense scents because they really irritate my eye. And so I will on occasion grab those because I really like the palettes. Both that one and I think I have the what is it, the pineapple one. I like both of them, but the scents I can really only handle for so long. So for me, if I'm gonna wear that, it's for an event or like an occasion where I don't have to wear it for too long, because otherwise my eyes are gonna start watering and I'm gonna like hate my life for like hours later, you know? But for me, the worst offender, just you wait. I love this angle. This is like grandma FaceTiming angle. Actually, it's more like this. Hey, Stacy, did you get yourself something good for Christmas? The worst offender for me is actually this. I think, what is this called? That's upside down. This is that Too Faced watermelon thing. It is such a strong, sharp scent, and I'm like, I don't ever recall cutting into a watermelon and crying immediately, you know? This is so intense. And yes, it is like a pleasant scent, but once it's on the face, I find that this irritates my skin and it irritates my face so much. And like, it's kind of cute, you know? Hey, there you are. Hey, girl. It's kind of cute, but it's also, like, nothing original in my opinion. I actually kind of like the scent in here. Like, if this was a candle or something, I don't think I would have a problem with it. Ooh, or a body wash, or like a body spray. I'm into that. But it's because it's going directly on my skin, I can't handle it. It's just too much for my face. If it's a scented lipstick or something, I'm fine with that. But I cannot handle, and I will not handle, any more, like, eyeshadow that's, like, scented things, or like blush that's scented. Like, we don't need our makeup to be scented. And I think Too Faced is like, again, not to rag on Too Faced all the time, Too Faced is the worst offender, like by far, you know? So I'm done with that. I think that kind of about does it for me for things we're leaving in 2020. There's a couple I left off from the first time I did this, but I've been filming now for a few hours and it's currently like, what, it's almost 10 p.m. and I'm like, I don't want to be yelling for the upstairs neighbors or whatever. I'm sorry I didn't, like, do makeup while I was doing this. This was actually kind of easier to do. I was finding the first time I was filming, I was having trouble, like, talking about things while actively putting makeup on my face. Anyway, I will be doing more videos soon. I have a couple really good ideas for ones that I want to do, and I will definitely be doing some, like, makeup on camera at some point. I think my next video, I'm going to be trying to turn myself into a Bratz, and I don't know how that's gonna go. We're just gonna have to wait and see and find out. Thank you so much for watching. If you did watch, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, you're living your best life, you're having fun. If you want to subscribe, please do. If not, thank you so much for being here, for being a little house guest for me today. Have a great day. Happy New Year's.